Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the RotoWire Euro DFS Knockout Strategy Show. My name is Jack Burkart. You can find me on Twitter at Jack Burkart, and I am joined. I'm just excited to bring you up, Ryan, because Ryan Belongia was in his bag today in Showdown with a takedown with none of the goal scorers or assisters that were cheap in the large field. Ryan, nice win this morning in Showdown. Just a shout out to you. You're not going to be out there bragging, but it's a nice W.
No, thank you very much. I needed the W, and it was one of those where I was telling you, I didn't even check and had no idea I won until just the money came into my account. It was like the biggest surprise. I told you that was the main $15 showdown, and I knew I didn't have Freuler or Abby share, and I knew I had Rimbaud. I just figured there's no way I can win, but that lineup I think left over 2K on the table, and I guess thanks to readers 12.6, that was enough. But yeah, made the day better because I felt a little hard done by in the main slate. But yeah, it was nice to book a win, Jack. And I know you did well in cash today. What'd you think of the slate? You're on mute.
Before I leave, I just noticed that Fabian Rieder was 12% in that GPP.
12%. Okay, so I guess I would just continue since we're going to do that. I just wanted to now maybe
you don't have to give it all away, Ryan.
I hope this doesn't change your answer, but I was going to ask you if we played this slate again tomorrow. Excluding Germany pieces, who's the first player in your lineup?
Oh, I for sure would have made a swap off this lineup that I have on the screen. So I'm going to answer that, Ryan. I was in my bag in cash today. I absolutely crushed it just because I avoided the landmine that was Steven El-Shaarawy and his 45 minutes and minus 0.7 or whatever. I chose to spend up for Chiesa, played in Doi. I had a late swap queued up just in case we had David Raum in over Mittelstadt. So that means I played David Raum and Jamal Musiala instead of Mittelstadt and Kimmich. I would have been happy with either of those. I played Cruz, of course. I spent up at goalkeeper and played Akanji. I'm never happy to play Akanji, but he got the clean sheet, so that was fine. Just the other defenders are more attacking. And Ryan, the key piece, I was deciding if I wanted to play Fabian Rieder or Nicolo Fagioli. My reasoning at the time was, well, it's a toss-up matchup. Fabian Rieder, I don't think he's going to get many minutes. We thought Fagioli would have a set-piece monopoly possibly in this lineup, and he did, so that was all correct. But Italy just suck, Ryan. Like, give me a do-over. I'm playing Rieder and then just spending the rest of my money getting up to Fabian's share, and I don't even think it's particularly it's tough to justify otherwise. It's not like Fagioli was particularly good. He just got all these empty calorie, Twinkie points. So did Chiesa, but Italy are either going to do well or Chiesa is going to get his empty calorie points. So I would still spend up at forward, even if I, got to replay the slate. But yeah, I was happy with how this went. Musiala goal sent me into the stratosphere. And again, no El-Shaarawy goal. No. Well, the El-Shaarawy bust, I mean, it was 70% of the field.
Yeah. I think you played a good lineup. And I played El-Shaarawy in cash and Sane, actually. They combined for like a point. I was still fortunate enough to cash the higher stakes double ups with a combined like 1 point at forward, I think. Thanks to Rieder and thanks to Musiala. And that was the lineup I played. It scored like 73 points. Didn't cash that one, but cashed a couple of the higher ones. Anyways, Rieder, 8% owned in the main, I think, or 6% or something. 22% owned, I believe, in the 555. And, one of those where I was frustrated because I didn't get to capitalize but like gives me hope, gives me some hope for the future. I mean, guy basically played in the Shaqiri role today, took almost all the sets, took a direct free kick, almost scored like inches away from scoring from it. Just looked really good out there. I do agree that, can't like call him a lock or anything because I agree with you that 65, 70 minutes is probably all that he's going to see. Fagioli, he was fine, but I just figured in the end I wanted the, attacking player, a guy who I thought had more upside. Chiesa, I'm not going to complain too much about that one. I probably should have just played him. I think he ran kind of well today, though. I mean, there are outcomes where Italy play bad, and he's subbed at 60 minutes before the free floor points start coming. You've got to survive that first.
I was very worried about that.
Yeah, and then he can start to smash. But pretty annoying too, though, that I planned for Sane and Ram, and I didn't plan for Sane. Sorry, I planned for Fulkrug and Ram. But pretty annoying to get Sane at like lowish ownership, and he scores 1.9. Really annoying, actually. I know you had a ton of Sane too. You and I talked this morning about how Ram might start, and it was there was a 2v2 that like made me feel perfectly fine, and Ram and Musiala cost the exact same as Middlestat and Kimmich. So I was going to be fine making that switch. So I thought it just made sense to gamble. And then, Ram started. Annoying to just get absolutely lapped at forward. I mean, I liked Ndoye today too. Really, though, I didn't like Al-Sharawi was a mistake. I would not do that again. I kind of knew it was a mistake, but I liked having I don't know. When I got up to Fulkrug and Ram and Musiala and just having all those guys, I just said, okay, let's just stack Germany, see what happens. It worked out okay, but
you could have tweaked it a little bit and just not insisted on Gio Di Lorenzo, I think. I was trying to get up to Di Lorenzo, and I ultimately just decided, like, man, this guy's 5K, and he just has not been really getting floor for Italy historically. And I don't even like Italy that much, so that was exactly how I got down.
That's what I should have done. I got stuck on Di Lorenzo maybe being the second best defender play today. And, all you had to do, if I just fade him, then you don't have to play Al-Sharawi. But, next time. I guess I would have needed to fill a third-team requirement still somehow.
Yeah. Well.
Anyways, we did okay.
The process, Ryan. The process. Any other final words on this before we get into the slate for June 30th?
Oh, yeah, just that, like, it may just be better to play Fulkrug no matter what. Like, even if he doesn't start, he's, like, still a better play than Sane. Like, I mean, he scored again today and was, like, offside by a hair and then almost scored another and just, like, I don't know, just, like, leave Fulkrug in. It, like, doesn't matter. He's going to do the same. He's going to have the same chances.
Yeah, Ryan, I was skeptical on Leroy Sané, and then when he was confirmed in the lineup, I updated my projections, and then I looked, and I tried to be conservative, and he was still great, like conservative on the minutes, not really juicing up his floor too much. I'm like, this is a smash. It's
pretty annoying when you look at how Germany played, and when you look, especially the first part of that Germany game when they were just all over them, and you look at how Italy played, and that Chiesa outscores Sane by 13 points or something. Like, it's just, but that's DFS.
Yeah, and Leroy Sané did his thing where he looked like he was going to drop 30 points in the first 5 minutes and then proceed just to be a total knucklehead the rest of the game. Though he did cause problems with his pace. I like what he offers. Germany, just pure, undistilled DFS tilt. Ryan, let's get into the slate that's happening tomorrow. It's gross. So it's 2 games, and we have Spain as massive favorites against Georgia. I think everyone's going to think this is a great spot for Spain for scoring fantasy points. My model certainly thinks that. So, that's going to be a spot that we look at. And then there's going to be England against Slovakia. England are turgid even against bad teams. So, Ryan, when I looked at this, that there would be some dilemmas. I looked at how expensive the forwards were for Spain. And, we have sort of 10,000 for Yamal. Nico Williams is 10,300. Morata a little underpriced. I'm like, okay, well, surely we're going to see Fabian Ruiz cost 7,500. Surely we're going to see Pedri cost 7,000. Surely Danny Carvajal is going to be 6,500. That's not the case, Ryan. It's pretty easy to jam Spain. That makes it a tough slate to talk about. What did you think when you opened the slate?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Makes it a tough slate to talk about. You can just jam Spain if you want. You're going to have to decide where you want to fill the 3-team requirements. You mentioned good prices on Ruiz and Pedri, but Kvaratskhelia is all the way down to 4,700. That's worth mentioning. He's cheaper than those guys. And, we've seen Georgia. It is always interesting when you can take, the main piece from from a team rather than some, a piece like Ruiz or Pedri and hope, you get there when they smash. So that's a decision. And, a guy like Duda's 3,600 taking some set pieces in a better, they have a more favorable matchup than Georgia do, Slovakia. So there's at least like some cheaper guys that you can consider over those Spain guys. But yeah, it's a tough slate to talk about. Hate this England team, as we mentioned. Even all Spain slates are tough. We talk about this all the time too. Yeah, the slate's kind of I don't know. It might be decided by what keeper you pick or what, I don't know. Or maybe, England will be leveraged in this spot too. If you want to take a chance on some England pieces. But yeah, it's for me. I felt myself wanting to jam Spain.
That's what I felt as well, Ryan. When I opened this, I'm like, you know what? I'll play like a little bit lighter tomorrow, and then I saw that you can turn $4 into 1,000. So we'll be going full hog on this one and just trying to make it work. Yeah, you have to. There's not, that's one of the best spots on the site, especially if you play lower stakes, like being able to put 5 lineups or even max it out and make 1,000. Few opportunities like that in the lobby these days. Ryan, I agree with you overall. I mean, I thought I was going to be made fun of if I suggested Kvaratskhelia at 4,700, but he is the main guy, and he still shows up in optimal runs in my first run of projections sometimes. Not in every single lineup, but he's definitely in consideration, especially when you compare him to someone like Pedri, who could easily play 60 minutes, Ryan, and do nothing. Like, talk about fragility and role that's happening. Like, people are going to – Mark Cucurella is going to be chalk on this slate. So guys with ceiling like that who might get slightly overlooked, I do agree are extremely interesting. And I am also interested in clicking the button that says play at least 2 England outfielders and trying my luck and see what happens if they can get their act together. Ryan, just thinking about this first matchup, though, it's just tough to like this England team whatsoever. Jude Bellingham doesn't look like he wants to be there anymore. Bukayo Saka's done all right, but he gets subbed off early every single time. Harry Kane is just completely uninvolved and is purely goal dependent and is more expensive than someone like Alvaro Morata. Phil Foden might start. We don't know because he just missed some time. So we have Cole Palmer in our lineup. And I don't know, Ryan, Kieran Trippier did take some set pieces. And if Phil Foden doesn't start, that's on the table again. And you might want to consider Trippier with 5 set pieces at 5,300. I don't know. What do you think about this first game? Is there any angles that seem appealing to you, and perhaps any different lineup that you see?
I hate this England team, man. I can't stand Southgate. And yeah, it seems like Foden's going to start. He just had his 3rd baby, I guess. That's why he left the camp, or his 3rd kid. Seems like he's going to start. Seems like Mainu's going to start. I do think that's an upgrade. They need a guy like Mainu in there. Saw some clips going around of Mainu in England training the last couple days. The kid just he's unbelievable. So yeah, I think that helps. Trippier, there's a report about Trippier not being fit again, or now a doubt again, even from Sky Sports. I think I saw Ezri Konsa might start. Ezri Konsa's 2,600. But then there's another quote from Trippier that
how is Ezri Konsa 2,600?
Yeah,
they have a 55% clean sheet on
Ezri Konsa. Yep. There's a quote from Trippier that he's okay, but yeah, I don't know. That's the first match, so we'll know. But yeah, it would be annoying I probably would play Trippier in cash if he starts, unfortunately. It's still not I don't expect him to do anything from open play, but taking the majority of corner kicks, I would say, maybe 50-50 with Foden, would still click that in cash. But yeah, other than, the only thing I can say about England is prices on Saka and Bellingham are down now, at least. 7,400 and 7,200. But yeah, I don't know. England are just so annoying. Letdown spot, somebody said in the chat. Maybe. It's too bad the competition isn't a little better, but this Slovakia team's been okay. Yeah, I don't know, Jack. I'm not excited to play guys from England, but I do agree with you. 2 England outfield players is probably a way to get some leverage in the big GPPs.
Yeah, and you don't even have to sacrifice a lot of Spain pieces in order to pull a strategy like that off. You can just play 2 of them and just hope that it's not a complete windmill dunk by the 3 forwards, which that's probably maybe the most likely outcome, but it's probably not the majority outcome. So that's one way to play it. Any interest in any of these Slovakia pieces? Slovakia keeps a very consistent squad. Duda, we should get 75 minutes. He did score a goal. He made a good run into the box. I don't know, Ryan. I'll try to make at least a couple lineups just because I'm a sicko with Lucas Herschlin, because I could imagine England gives guys a lot of space, and he's like a very DFS-friendly player. He could be someone who gets appropriate amount of points if he's around 7K. But yeah, it's still tough to tout Slovakia against England.
Yeah, it's tough to tout Slovakia, but we've seen that, England doesn't suffocate teams the way the other top teams do. Not quite as much. So, if one of the Slovakia guys scores, they might, a guy like Harrislin, for example, might have a little bit of a floor there too, that he can score you over 20 points. And I agree with your take there. He'll be pretty much unowned, but definitely their most creative player and most likely, I would say, to score as well, because he can score long shots. And then, I don't mind taking a chance on Duda just because he's 3,600 and splits sets. Maybe what if they get 5 corners or something chasing the game? Yeah, but I don't know. Their forwards are what? Bosnick is 4,200 or 4,500. I don't know. I don't really see myself clicking him, but I get it, I guess.
You could play Ivan Schranz, who was in fine goal scoring form. I don't know how expensive he is. But yeah, I think I agree with all of your takeaways. Ozzy says incoming Lobotka masterclass. You go ahead and do that, Ozzy. I'll probably bet against that. But I think he actually has been he has 3 shots assisted, so maybe you get the random assist. Ryan, the more exciting match, I think on both sides probably, is the Spain and Georgia match. Georgia just absolute heroes beating the Portugal B side 2-0. Still a very impressive achievement. And Ryan, it's really fun how fearless this Georgia team play. They play with a really well-organized defense. I observed that against Portugal. And they absolutely fly forward on the counterattack. And guys like Kvicha Kvaratskhelia and Georges Mikitadze, who's a pretty good player from what I've seen, they're really able to make this strategy work. That said, they're against Spain, who I think might be my pick to win the tournament at this point, who are absolutely excellent. So we're projecting the usual lineup from Spain: Cucurella at left back, the return of Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal. They're massive favorites, Ryan, and just give me as much Spain as possible. It's as simple as that. But we'll talk about forward and stuff. Which spots do you think might be most fragile on Spain?
Well, first I just want to say, so now Georgia have a nice organized defense, but the game before that, they played like psychos, allowing 12 shots on target to Czech Republic.
Yeah, they got their lead, and I'll change my mind. Wow.
No, that's fine. I agree. I like the way that Georgia have played. I forget what was the stat yesterday. They allowed was that them 47 attempts on goal or something? Maybe that wasn't.
I mean, it's still a really good floor spot for Spain.
Right.
Portugal didn't have good chances. Conceição was bullied on the wing. It makes me wonder about the wingers in this matchup, Ryan. Can these defenders in an organized back five, really committing to defending, is it possible that they can bottle up Yamal or Nico Williams, who both have frustrating performances in them?
It is possible. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to rule it out. I like the way Georgia have played. Which Spain pieces are the most fragile? I think Nico Williams is the best play. He's the one that I would want to play first. I mean, he was the best player on the field against Italy I think most of the stuff will run through him here. Yamal too, obviously, but Nico's the one that I feel safest about. Then it's probably a decision between the other two forwards. And then the mids, Pedri's, I would say, more fragile than Fabian Ruiz just because of the minutes. They seem to have similar upside. Pedri may get a little further forward, but also like Ruiz has been doing that too. So I think they're very similar plays. Probably side with Ruiz because he's likely to play 90 minutes. Carvajal, it would be nice if he's more expensive, like you said, but he's also a guy that, might not have a huge floor in him. He should get into some great positions and have, maybe some chances to score, certainly chances to assist, but I wouldn't be too surprised if he didn't put up a big floor game. And then, Kvaratskhelia on the other side, down to 4,700. I was thinking when I opened the slate that he would be like 6K or something and not really have to consider it as much. I mean, look at Mikitadze up to 68. So you could have seen KK around there. That's at least 6K. I was surprised to see 4,700. Obviously, it's not a good spot at all. Spain might be the worst spot. But still, it's cheap enough and everything's going to go through him. If he gets a goal contribution, he's certainly going to pay off his price. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's a bit apples to oranges, Ryan, but Christian Eriksen was chalked today against a possession-based Germany team. I mean, I think Spain are a harder opponent than Germany, and I think Denmark are much better than Georgia, but you're getting half the price on that. And look, Georgia's not going to score fantasy points. There's probably going to be a couple chances for them to take shots. So I think there is ceiling, especially at that price. And you're not sacrificing upside in Spain. I just don't think you're building bad lineups if you necessarily use KK.
No, I agree. Can I just give a random kind of crazy take?
Yeah, please.
Ozzy inspired me with Lobotka, but Georgia have this 3,100 guy, Kachorishvili, who is he's a defensive mid, just a destroyer. But he's had some games in him, and I checked qualifying before this, where he just draws so many fouls and has so many tackles. I mean, if you want to see a random 4 or 5 foul drawn, 4 tackles, interceptions, you just hope he avoids the yellow. The guy could miraculously do it. So if you want to stack Spain or something and you put an England piece and need to fill the third team requirement with a punt, it's not the worst thing ever.
That is a beautiful take. It's not too
watermelon brain, Jack.
It's not too often on the RotoWire soccer show where we're touting tackles won upside to pair with fouls drawn upside from our midfield.
That's what you're doing, yeah. And Spain have guys in there like Rodri, and that's also the style of Spain. Well, maybe not with this new manager, but the style of Man City where they foul the other teams to stop attacks, or just they, you know what I'm saying. Spain kind of do that too. Anyways, just a random off the wall take.
I don't think it's that off the wall at all. It's a great showdown take that you can maybe take to the bank, but we'll see how that's priced. Ryan, let's actually break into talking about how to build our 8-team DFS lineup. You're proposing a team where you want to play Kieran Trippier in cash, which means that you're not going to be able to afford all of Alvaro Morata, Lamine Yamal, and Nico Williams. Which one do you think is the odd man out? Ryan, you said Nico Williams is the best play. I actually think adjusted for price, Alvaro Morata might be the best play, including minus 165 goal scoring odds. A player who has some shot-based floor, though I'm a little more cautious after Cristiano Ronaldo only got 1 shot. But I think Spain have their full squad, so that makes me more optimistic. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, that's a fair take. I feel a little bit more comfortable with Nico. Yeah, we saw what happened with Ronaldo against Georgia, and it's not like Morata is going to play 90 minutes. And sometimes you see the games where the team's just dominating so much, and just in Georgia's final third that Morata, there's scenarios where he might not be that involved or touching it too often, kind of like Ronaldo.
There might not be space for him. Like
that's kind of what I'm saying. I mean, it's still a good spot for him, but I just think Nico is sort of undeniable. If it didn't seem that way in the first game, but based on the second game, that's what I would think. But I don't know. Like it's pretty close, because if you would have asked after the first game, I remember saying Yamal, and now I don't necessarily feel that way. So they're all very close.
Yeah, and you can play all three of them. You just don't get the privilege of playing Danny Carvajal or Kieran Trippier. So that's a spot where you don't have to necessarily commit to the decision. I don't know. It's definitely worth considering. I think my top two, just because it's good to have an opinion, it's close, but I would like to roll out Nico Williams and Alvaro Morata.
Okay. I think I would say the same. Sorry, I was just seeing if you could fit all three of them and Trippier and a Spain mid. I mean, you can't do it if you also want a Spain mid, I don't think. Yeah, you actually can do it with Pedri. You can do it, Jack. You can fit it.
All right. Well, I stand corrected in that case. We just have to play our $3,100 Georgia mid, who's going to give us.
You very well might have to. Yeah.
4.
Yep.
4 tackles, 1 and 4 fouls drawn.
Yeah. So, I don't know if you want to do that for cash. Yeah. Maybe you play Foden over one of the Spain guys. Maybe. Or you can just go way more balanced and maybe pay up for keeper and pay up for or get both Spain mids. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's a kind of a decision.
Yeah, and it's one that I don't necessarily want to make for everyone, right? Like there's a lot that's going to be the toughest part of the slate, deciding.
Right, exactly.
Both Spain
that's the toughest part of the slate. And like maybe even deciding where to use the third team is also going to be one of the biggest decisions of the slate.
For sure. Like you could use Pickford as a goalkeeper if you want the third team. Maybe you want to use a defender spot. Do you want to play for Simone? I don't know. Cash.
Maybe you want to use one of the cheap keepers as a third team. Yeah.
Everyone's favorite, Mama. I screwed up his name, but Mama Darshveli or whatever, who's being like tipped for like a transfer to one of the big club with his heroic stuff. Never seen that go wrong before after a big tournament. Ryan, we haven't really talked about any of the other forward eligible players. You mentioned some of the Slovakia guys are cheaper. Sure, you can do that. It's a perhaps contrarian Harry Kane spot at 10,600 if you want to go there. I would certainly click that a few times. There's going to be some worlds where Harry Kane gets a brace in the spot, as improbable as it seems. Otherwise, maybe I just get a little bit weird in other spots. The Spain forwards are just so good.
Yeah, Kane's a tough one because, he probably won't be that low owned, right? Just everyone's not like us. Now, that doesn't mean, like, he's still, like, a decent play because he's, like, England's only eligible forward, too. So, like, there's not many guys that Kane has to beat, really. He just has to beat one Spain guy almost in a lot of scenarios. And now if he scores 2 goals, then you're really flying because, like, one of those Spain guys might score under 10 points. There's a pretty decent chance. Or maybe just scores 10 points, one of those Spain forwards. So yeah, I will have some Kane. Unfortunately, I hate it. I hate playing Kane. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Makes sense to play some.
I agree 100%. Any last take on forward, or we can hop into the midfield dilemma that we.
Yeah, really. Not really. I'm not really looking to play the underdog forwards. I think they're fine. Like Mikatadze would be crazy. He might be crazy low owned. Obviously, he takes pens and he's been on fire. But yeah, I'm just looking to play like maybe midfielders from Slovakia and Georgia. I think the forwards are fine, but I'm just not really on that.
Yeah. Well, looking at midfield, then, if Foden starts, he's going to be 8K. That's interesting. A slight discount on Jude Bellingham, who's looked awful this tournament ever since scoring the goal. Ryan, the cash pool, I think, starts to crystallize when we see mid-price Spain guys. Rodri is 5,900, and there's outs for penalty. Did we sort the Spain penalty situation out yet, Ryan? Or that's still somewhat of mystery. So he's someone who should be in your player pool, or at least you have to intentionally fade him. I think my favorite of the bunch is Fabian Ruiz at 5,500. He's a play that my projections love. He shoots a lot in qualifying. And I think given how we expect the Georgia defense to organize someone who's kind of coming up from the middle, I think he might have a floor in this spot, but maybe I don't know ball. Pedri is also a great player. I think he's the cheapest of the bunch at 5,100. Most likely to be subbed early, but probably most likely to lead the midfield group I talked about in shots assisted. I don't know, Ryan. How do you rank these guys?
Yeah, I think I rank him like you do. Ruiz number one because he's got the big minutes edge on Pedri. At least you would think so. I think their floors are similar. I do think Pedri is like the most likely to score a tap in if there were to be one. You know, he makes those runs and like combines with players 1-2s. We've seen it before, but I think Ruiz has plenty of upside too. Really like both of them. Rodri, yeah, you mentioned that's a tougher click, but he's still up for pens, I think, and unless I haven't heard or seen anybody I don't think anybody has clarification as far as I know. It's like people aren't sure if it's going to be Morata or Rodri, and I guess maybe it could even be someone else, but I think it would be Morata or Rodri. I guess it seems fine. We've also seen Rodri score plenty of long goals. And he's also a threat on corner kicks, so it's a fine play. Then going down, what mentioned Kvaratskhelia, only 4,700. Good play in any format if you believe in Georgia here. And then Duda 36, I think is okay. Yeah, we just saw him score and good for a couple corners. Should Slovakia get them? Jack's boy Kuchka even.
Oh, you took it from me.
Sorry. I mean, I was looking at it. I mean, 90-minute guy who's got like a weird floor sometimes where he can just sort of get every stat.
That's what my projection model exists for, Ryan, to give me weird guys who always score a floor, who everyone asks me, why is he showing up when I run the projections against an optimizer? But yeah, I mean, why not take a rip on Juraj Kuchka? Like he's a player who could score a goal and maybe get 6-point floor. This is a guy who could score 16 points at 4,300.
Absolutely,
at low ownership. Come on, sign me up.
Yeah, those are the types of like legit slate breakers on these 2-game slates.
Yeah, shout out.
Is Luke Shaw back, and will he play 90 minutes? No. Shaw came back and trained, though. I think today was the first day, but zero chance of him starting from what I read. It is possible that he subs on, but no, he's not going to start. I mean, unless Southgate if Luke Shaw starts, I'm just done with England forever, you know?
That's like the most. He was one of the most unserious selections to that 11.
Yeah,
and it would be a completely unserious. Does Herschlin play on the right? Like Herschlin might like cause Luke Shaw fits. He's like 32 and coming back from injury.
Yeah, I've seen him mostly playing on Kyle Walker's side, unfortunately.
Okay, on the left. Right.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me actually less interested in him because I think Kyle Walker, on the other hand, is very good.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, outside of Kokoro Chef, I screwed that up. Ryan's boy at the bottom, 3,100.
Vili?
Yeah, I'm just not going to try again. And then Ozzy's boy, Lobotka. I don't know. You can get a little bit weird if you want. Let's move on to defender, Ryan. Grimaldo is 9,100. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision again. Knock on wood. Ryan, we talked about this a little bit. Carvajal, I'm not sure this is a real floor spot for him against weaker opposition almost. I feel like you don't want to get burned on the counter, so something about Spain is going to be tactically set up for that. Kieran Trippier seems like the play if he's going to take set pieces that you sign up for. For Ryan, you might be a little bit worried about his minutes. So you said you want to play Trippier in cash. Are you married to that take, or is that just like he takes senses on a favor? Just do it.
I do not want to play Trippier in anything ever, but I might just have to play him in cash is more not have to, obviously. Of course you don't have to. But it's just tough not to play the set piece taker against Slovakia, especially when they're only 5,300. So I think I would maybe do it, and he would just be like my lone England piece and fill one of the team requirements. Doesn't seem that bad. It's annoying because I really don't like it, but yeah, I think I would still probably play him in cash. There's not a lot else. Yeah, Danny Carvajal, I kind of agree with your take, especially he's on KK's side. So I think he'll definitely have some defending to do. And
that's extreme yellow card downside. I don't like playing defenders on KK's side.
I agree. It could also be that he gets in some better attacking spots. I'm not sure about KK, but sometimes those guys don't always track back to defend, especially if he's, they're depending on Kvaratskhelia to just do everything offensively, kind of. Sometimes, Yamal and Danny Carvajal may have their way offensively. But yeah, maybe not. Like Carvajal might, be tasked with more defending. Anyway, I'm not excited about playing him. Not in cash, at least. I think Trippier's just like a safer play, makes more sense. After that, I don't know, Jack. I didn't really see anything. Just punts, like the center backs. Laporte is only 3,600, and Gay, he's 3,400. I think either one of them are fine. I don't think it's the worst if you want to we didn't want to play Pekaric ever, but if you want him to fill like your third team or like something like that, I don't like it's not the worst. Kakabadze, either one of them, like I don't know, they could somehow fall into 5 or 6 points.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you have to spend all the way down for like a Guram Kashia, $2,500 player for Georgia. Yeah, Derek, you're in the chat. I'm sorry about my butchered pronunciations. I try to paste the names we mentioned in the chat. Yeah, I don't know. You can play as low as you want. I like guys like Gahey and Laporte were showing up a lot just because they play on favorites. There should be a chance for a shot assisted or two. 50% clean sheet.
2,600 as Ricanza would show up in the machine?
Oh, for sure. It would be.
I think 2,600. I mean, what is that?
That's insane. I mean, he doesn't have to. All he has to do is exist, and he'll project for like 4 points. And
maybe he's like maybe he's like he end up the like worst click on the slate. 45 minutes, subbed at half for Luke Shaw, 1 point.
Man, why you gotta say that? That's
no, I mean I would play him. How could you not play him? You have to play him like just have to. By the way, Jack, how about Rudiger's 9 points today? And how about that cross shot assisted? Did you see that?
You called it out. No, I didn't see it actually.
It was great, but yeah, shout out to the Rudiger, to the people that played Rudiger. And you got.
And it didn't matter because Nico Schlotterbeck got the assist.
That's true. That was unfortunate, but
he can't keep getting away with it. I agree overall, though, Ryan. Trippier, he's going to be a solid play, and otherwise, just punt to whatever you need that fits.
Yeah, like I was thinking, even like our boy Hancho, or however you say his name.
Yeah.
Because they lowered his price now, but I just really don't like playing guys on Kyle Walker's side. But he takes some direct free kicks. We saw he took their last one. Or no, not in the one in the game where he got hurt. He took that direct free kick. He's got a nice left foot shot on him, so he might take a free kick again.
Yeah, a player with an okay floor. I certainly don't mind that shout whatsoever. Ryan again was talking about David Hancho, Hancko. Ryan, let's take a look at goalkeeper and the decision I'm sweating right now in my dummy cash lineup, and I can play either. It's, do I play Martin Dubravka because I think Slovakia are actually live to beat England, or do I go for my 16 save performance from Georgi Mamardashvili? You can play whoever you want, but I'm really tempted by Dubravka, even though I feel like the save upside is low.
No, I couldn't agree more. I have the same dilemma. I think a lot of people are going to have that dilemma. Do you go for the save upside, or do you go for, the England game could be 0-0 after 90, I mean, it's not going to surprise anyone. And obviously Dubravka has save upside too, for sure. Foden likes to shoot from distance. Even Kane's becoming, Kane sees so little of the ball that when he gets it, he's got to shoot too sometimes, even if they're not going to go in. So I think Dubravka has some save upside. I don't know yet. I don't know, one of those guys. I'm not sure which one I'm leaning towards. I have some lineups in tournaments where I spend up too, and play for Slovakia or Georgia to score. I don't know, Jack. It's goalie. Can't really tell anybody anything.
Yeah, I can't either, but I can tell you it's almost certainly going to decide whether or not you break the cash line if you're playing double ups tomorrow.
It certainly might.
Ryan, my favorite spend up option, talk about someone who has save upside, Jordan Pickford. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, I agree. I think Pickford has more save upside than Simone.
Yeah. I don't know. It's goalkeeper. It's 2 games.
Also like Georgia have been like just pesky enough where you could see them getting some shots too. But I would lean Pickford, but it's not like I also think Slovakia are maybe a little bit more likely to score. So it's tough.
Yeah. I'll convince myself to play some of them all as I'm fine being like that. Just like give me a little bit of all the goals.
I kind of am too. I kind of am too on a slate like this, especially. You don't want to like be dead because you didn't play just, you don't want to be dead from goalkeeper. I've had that happen too many times.
Yeah. Ryan, I think it's something of a minor miracle that we were able to have a 42-minute show of actually interesting discussion on this 2-gamer. I thought we'd be done in 25 minutes. Do you have any final words of wisdom for the people? The GPP King is back. You've taken my crown away.
Oh yeah, it was nice to get a dub today. No more words of wisdom. I'm happy we don't have the England that the England game isn't the big showdown, and that the Spain-Georgia game is, I guess. I played a couple England subs in the last showdown, and if Southgate wasn't already the worst, the way he's used his subs just makes him the nut worst. Like it's almost like he planned it pre-tournament, and that every one of his attacking subs, he subbed them on one time. And it had nothing to do with strategy. Just like we have to make sure each one of these guys sees the field, and that's just all it's going to be.
He's like a good middle school coach.
It's just that's exactly what it. Like I swear, that's exactly what he did, and that was just like the cherry on top for all things England. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't be upset if Slovakia win tomorrow, Jack.
I would not be upset either. If there's any justice in the world, Slovakia is going to shock the world and pull this up. Please, God, just one time. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Shout out to Derek, John, and Ozzy in the chat, making things nice, fun, and lively. Please join us at RotoWire, rotowire.com/soccerchild if not already a member. And you can join us in the Discord where we're discussing things and talking about leaked lineups, rotowire.com/chat. If you're still here, please give us a thumbs up. Please leave us a comment. All of that helps us continue to crank out these shows. And most of all, you're going to need a lot of it tomorrow. So good luck on the slate tomorrow.
Yep. Thanks, Jack. Good luck, everybody.